101, 102, 103. As you can see, I've gotten a lot better at juggling in the last few weeks. Actually, I'm just a little bit better than I was a few weeks ago, and part of that is because I have better things to juggle with, but I have thought about juggling, as have many of you. I really was wonderful to see what was going on in the forums with all the discussion around juggling, from tips on juggling to a lot of reflection on the activity and how we learn these kinds of things and how the learning of juggling compares to other kinds of learning. So I think that was a really fun activity, and I'm glad that many of you enjoyed that as well. The comments there sort of reflect the more general demeanor of the conversation within the course at this point, which is really positive, and I'm really happy to see that. There's a lot of great conversation, a lot of great feedback that's going on there, and I really encourage that kind of positive communication that's going on between everybody within the course. Other kinds of activities that have gone on last week, I thought the map of the history of educational technology and your uses of educational technology turned out really well. That's still growing, both the wiki and the Pinterest page. It was really interesting to see the kinds of things that people posted there, from specific hardware to software to uses to web services. There's a lot of different kinds of things that people saw there, and the ways that people mapped out that educational technology was really interesting. In the forums in other places, there was the pitch that many of you participated in. And I want to comment that there was a lot of people participating in giving their pitches, as well as commenting on those and voting on those. And that community was really excellent. I do encourage more of you to vote. I think that voting will become more and more useful. As you'll see right now, I'm going to call out the top 4 that I've seen so far in terms of votes. The top one was on cultural awareness. There was also one on language learning, girls in STEM, and the 4th one, I think it's really important with respect to this course, was on creating study groups within edX. So if you haven't seen these, I would take a look at them. I'd also take a look at some of the other projects in there and make sure you participate. If you haven't actually participated in putting a product pitch in there and you want to continue on this next week, you can put your pitch in there. A lot of people are lagging a week, and we'll comment on that, so that's great. But if you didn't and you want to move on to the second part of the product pitch this week, that's fine too. It's up to you how you decide to do that. Groups in general have been starting to form, and some of them have been coming together pretty well. I know that a lot of the groups are still struggling, so I thought I'd pass along a couple tips that I've seen in some of the successful groups so far. And by successful, I mean in terms of generating conversation. So one of the groups on language learning has a moderator who gives a prompt each week and who seems to sort of draw a lot of the conversation together. So that's one sort of strategy for thinking about how you might get your community to come together. I know the EdTech Entrepreneurs has been a more active community as well. So if you are not a member of that community, you might peek in there and see what it's like, get some tips on how they're running the community. There's been several others that have been running really well as well, but there's some that are still struggling, and I know looking for ways to be more productive. Some of those groups have also organized Hangouts, so there's been some organized Hangouts that have gone on, and you should feel free to participate in those. I love when the class is organizing these themselves. We do have our own Talkabout that we'll be organizing this coming up weekend. There's information on that on the course website, and there's a sign up there as well. You don't have to sign up, but it's always nice if you sign up in advance. Others will know how many people are going to be there. The content this week, we're focusing on active learning. And so we have colleagues from the Media Lab here at MIT. I have one of my colleagues, Scott Osterweil, who's been a great designer of educational games, who's going to be talking about the logical journey of the Zoombinis. We'll be talking about some of our own products within this week. And so I think there's some interesting content to cover. The assignments this week, there are 2 main assignments. One is a mod of an educational technology. This is an assignment that we're actually trying synchronously in my own class here on campus. And you also have an elevator pitch around your technology that you've thought about this past week. We recommend for that latter of those that you use a video format for presenting that. That'll be presented in the forums, so you can make a video somewhere else and post a link within the forums. I think if you do it within YouTube, you'll find that that video embeds, or so they can actually see it in line. Other videos, it's fine. You can just post a link and people can view the website elsewhere. For the other one, for the Make a Mod of Educational Technology, that's a peer assessment that you've done a couple times now so far. The 2 comments I have for that, based on some past experience and feedback that you've given us. One, make sure whatever link you post in there is public. A lot of people have posted links that they forgot to make public, so make sure that you try it in another browser where you're not logged into whatever service you're using and try out that link. And the second thing is do make sure it is in English. I know that lots of you are not native English speakers, and I apologize for that, but for the requirement around English posting. But since it is the predominant language here, and we do want people to be able to make sure that they can read everybody else's work, we do ask you to post it in English. And in that peer review, just again, keep that feedback positive. So that's what we have coming up this week. I think there's a lot of exciting content, a lot of exciting activities, and some of those synchronous activities that I hope you'll participate in. So we'll see you there. Is this going in?